So you've got a stiff big toe, but is it really important, and does it actually matter? Does it impact us when we walk, when we run, when we weight lift, or when we do whatever sport we might be doing? Well, today in the video, we're gonna go over how your big toe impacts the fascia of your foot, how it impacts the way that your foot is structured and how it interacts with the ground, and how it will dramatically impact things like walking, running, and lifting. Here we go. Real quick, if you love Spacer Mobility, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with any videos we talk about helping you recover from the ground up. So I want to give you 2 exercises that you can do to mobilize your big toe. But first, let's take a couple steps back and talk about why it's so important that we have a supple, mobile big toe and what it actually means. And also, what are some of the downsides of having a stiff toe that doesn't move super well? Really, at our base is this one big concept, and it is the windlass mechanism, which is a fancy way of saying that our foot, its shape, and its structure can be supple, and it can also be rigid. And the big toe specifically can have a really important part to play in helping us create a rigid, solid foundation to press and drive off of. You can try this yourself. Whenever you lift the big toe fully, your arch begins to develop, and we put quite a bit of tension across that fascia along the bottom of the foot. This tension across the bottom of the foot from the big toe helps create a solid structure for us to move off of. And this is especially important during weight-bearing movements, such as walking and running, and also even stationary movements such as weightlifting like back squatting. When it comes to walking and running, our big toe plays a huge role, specifically in how we push off the ground. When we walk, if the big toe is able to extend fully, we can walk over the foot, with the ball of the big toe being the last thing that comes off the ground. And when we're running and we land more toward the balls of the feet, the big toe extending gives us the ability to have a stable arch as we land, as the heel kisses the ground, and then as we push off again to move forward. So you can see having a mobile big toe that can extend fully is going to be really important to have good function for our walking and running. And walking is something we do every day. So I want you to take a moment and think about it like this. If you're like, I'm not really sure if this big toe is really as important as this guy is saying it is. Sure, when you weightlift, maybe you're only doing a couple sets with a few dozen reps, but how much do you walk? And when you run, how many steps are you completing? We're talking thousands of reps a day. So don't think of my stiff big toe doesn't really matter. Think of it as every time my toe is stiff and it can't extend fully and I can't complete a proper walk, step, or run, then what's actually happening is I'm doing thousands of poorly formed reps that are impacting my foot and up the chain. That's why we talk about recovery from the ground up. So as you can see, the big toe impacts the function of the foot. It dictates how we walk off the ground, how we land when we run, the strength and integrity of our foot when we need it to be stable, and also even the foot being supple when we need it to be a little bit more mobile. So what I'm gonna do now is share with you 2 exercises that you can do to begin mobilizing your big toe. So if you found this video helpful so far, or any of our other videos, don't forget to like and subscribe again to stay up to date with what we are coming out to help you guys recover from the ground up. Now let's get into the 2 exercises. First up, we're gonna take the toe mobility band and we're gonna use it to begin bringing the big toe in, putting it in a more natural position so that it can reach a good extended position. Think about it, if the toe is a little bit more pointed in or we're having a little bit of a bunion, that's going to dramatically impact how much our big toe can extend. And this is kind of like a 2-for-1. We're helping the big toe get in a better position to extend while also preventing or fixing bunions. So what I want you to do is get a tolerable amount of tension around the big toes as you stand with your feet a little bit further apart. And there's 2 different things we can do here. First, I'm gonna show you just lifting the big toe up and down off the ground, strengthening that top of the foot extensor. And I really just want you to pay attention to how the foot is moving, making sure that we're not rocking side to side, in and out, that we're feeling very rooted into the ground as we're lifting this big toe up and down. The second thing I'm gonna have you do with the toe mobility band is you're gonna find a doorway. You're gonna have one end of the band around the big toe, and the hand will stay on the other end instead of placing it around the big toe. This is so you can gently pull the big toe into that more natural position, then drive the foot down, keeping just the big toe on the door frame, and this helps us begin to work extending the big toe. From here, you can play around with just leaning forward or bending the knee, working those positions while getting the big toe to be extended. The second exercise we're gonna do is going to be a little bit of a variation to almost like a split stance partial lunge. And the whole focus of this is actually on the front foot staying rooted firmly in the ground without the big toe coming in, and the back foot specifically working that big toe extension. So while we maintain a neutral pelvis position, we're really focusing on driving the knee and the hip forward, making the big toe extend as much as we can tolerate, and focusing on pulling the top of the foot towards the shin as we move forward. It's important as you do this, let that ball of the big toe be your guide. We want to try and keep that big toe rooted into the ground without it pivoting and without it coming off the ground too soon. You can drive forward for a couple reps. You can hold this position, and ultimately the further you can go into it and the more supple you can be with your big toe and the more you can tolerate those end ranges, the better you're going to be when you lift, when you walk, and when you run. So there you have it, the big toe. If it's stiff, we have to begin mobilizing it. If we don't, we run the risk of having a destable foot when we weight lift, when we walk, and when we run, and it can impact us up the chain, causing different problems as well. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Go ahead and send this to someone that has a stiff big toe, and let's start recovering from the ground up.